Well, look like Caitlin Clark has responded to all of her actions is speaking to the world and letting everybody know she is about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA LGBTQ community. That being said, let's head on over to X so I can show y'all what the hell I'm talking about. Let's roll the clip real quick. Let's listen.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first question.
Something a lot of these professional women basketball players are not. They are not media trained. So them saying little things, even letting AT take responsibilities for choking Caitlin Clark out on a basketball.
A flagrant 2, suspending Thomas for 1 game.
The fist in the throat is crazy. It's crazy. It's dangerous.
Caitlin Clark is a WNBA All-Star for the 3rd straight year. That's not the headline, though. The real story is her own Fever teammate, Raven Johnson, catching harassment online just for celebrating Clark making it. And this is where it gets rich, because we've watched WNBA players spend all season blaming the Caitlin Clark fanbase for every ounce of online drama. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and a player is getting dragged for showing love to a teammate. You can't have it both ways.
I say because it's going to be a bonehead mistake, just like her sounding like. Now, I'm not saying that she actually meant to basically defend Alyssa Thomas, but it sounded extremely like she was defending it and putting it all off on the fans and not letting AT take responsibilities for choking Caitlin Clark out on a basketball court. Now, this is the moment we all have.
Here's the part that exposes the whole double standard. The second Raven Johnson starts getting embraced by the Caitlin Clark fanbase, she becomes a target from inside her own league's fanbase instead. That tells you everything about who's actually driving the toxicity in this story, and it's not who gets blamed the most. If supporting a teammate now makes you a traitor, that's not a Caitlin Clark fan problem, that's a some of y'all problem, and it's time people said that out loud instead of pretending it only flows one direction.
To be honest, man, one comment said, let's see here. Oh, Lucky Charm. Oh, we ain't gonna read that. Somebody said if this is true, she shows how much she loves America's sports. Definitely look like AI. Somebody said that's cool as hell watching great competitors be real.
Let's get into the actual numbers, because this is the receipt people keep dancing around. Clark is 2nd in the league in assists and tied for 4th in scoring, but when it came to the player vote for All-Star, her peers ranked her 11th at the guard spot. 2nd by fans, 3rd by media, 11th by the very players she shares a floor with. Now, only about half the league actually turned in a ballot, so it's not the full room speaking. But that gap between how fans and media see her production versus how her peers rank her is exactly the kind of stat that keeps this jealousy conversation alive every single season.
Getting death threats. She's sick and tired of the league not doing more to protect its players off the court. This morning, WNBA star Alyssa Thomas blasting Commissioner Kathy Engelbert after Alyssa says she received death threats over this incident with Caitlin Clark.
There's a difference between trolling and there's a difference between hatred, and the hatred that we're experiencing over a play that honestly was a complete accident.
The play happened at last Wednesday night's game between
Sophie Cunningham not cracking the All-Star picture is the snub nobody's talking about enough. She's leading the entire WNBA in three-point shooting percentage this season, and she barely moved in these latest returns. If you're the most efficient shooter from deep in the league, that should be a real conversation, not a footnote. I'm not saying Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell don't belong. They do, but the Fever easily could have had 4 All-Stars this year, and the fact that Sophie's case barely gets acknowledged says something about how these narratives get built around who's already famous.
WNBA LGBTQ community, basically targeting Caitlin Clark fans and damn near targeting Caitlin Clark a person, because we all forgot when Caitlin Clark got them death threats too, when one fan stated that they was ready to inflict harm and violence against Caitlin Clark. Guys, we got to look at this cycle. Not once did we ever hear Caitlin Clark say something about that situation. You want to know what Caitlin Clark did? Ignored it. Went on about her day. Play basketball, talk to the media about the game, but you never see her actually portray herself as being the victim. See, that is something that these WNBA players do a lot. They always...
Clark finished with just over 1 million votes and still got beat out by Paige Buchers by roughly 22,000. And look, credit to Buchers, she's having a great season in Dallas. But the Yukon Mafia jokes exist for a reason at this point. What actually bothers me is the 1BA sitting on viewership numbers for these other matchups instead of just putting them out there. If Bucher's games are pulling the kind of audience Clark's are, show us. The fact that we're not getting a clean, transparent number is exactly what keeps this conspiracy-adjacent conversation alive instead of shutting it down with data.
Well, look like Caitlin Clark has responded to all of the nonsense that has been going on online for the past week. That is by saying nothing at all. Her actions is speaking to the world and letting everybody know she is unbothered with this entire situation. Now, we know Stephanie White did this press conference.
Now here's the part of this story that actually matters. Scroll through Raven Johnson's comment section right now, and you'll find people telling her she's surviving a racist environment and needs to either lie for the people around her or tell the truth and go home. That's an insane thing to say to a rookie for posting support for her own teammate. This isn't fandom, this is people trying to force a black player into picking a side in a manufactured culture war that has nothing to do with basketball.
To that on X in a hot second. But something else we have to address is Dan Dietrich and Christine Brennan of USA Today having a very, very detailed interview about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA LGBTQ community, basically targeting Caitlin Clark fans and damn near targeting Caitlin Clark a person, because we all forgot when Caitlin Clark got them death threats too, when one fan stated that they was ready to inflict harm and violence against Caitlin Clark.
And here's the thing. I was in Indianapolis and saw this with my own eyes. Raven Johnson taking pictures with Caitlin Clark fans, signing Caitlin Clark jerseys, showing genuine love to the fan base like the professional she is. She wasn't faking anything. So when people turn around and harass her for celebrating a teammate's success after she's shown that fan base nothing but respect in person, that's not activism, that's just cruelty dressed up as loyalty to a cause.
USA Today having a very, very detailed interview about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA LGBTQ community, basically targeting Caitlin Clark fans and damn near targeting Caitlin Clark a person, because we all forgot when Caitlin Clark got them death threats too, when one fan stated that they was ready to inflict harm and violence against Caitlin Clark. Guys, we got to look at this cycle. Not once did we ever hear Caitlin Clark say something about that situation. You want to know what Caitlin Clark did? Ignored it. Went on about her day. Play basketball.
I went digging through her socials trying to actually find the harassment everyone's talking about, and half the internet's already flooded with people begging her to stay, saying aliens must have scrambled her brain, which, come on, that's a wild way to talk about a 22-year-old who just showed support for a teammate. The pile-on here isn't really about basketball opinions anymore. It's about controlling what a black athlete is allowed to say publicly, and that should bother everybody watching this, regardless of who your favorite player is.
So as you guys can see here, throughout all of this BS that is currently going on, Caitlin Clark pulled up to USA Soccer and enjoyed her day. Look like she's not really tripping off exactly what is going on here. Now, some of the comments said it so good to see her. She gets in harder than any of these guys and nothing.
Then you get comments like Raven is gone, she's chosen her side, showing up on threads, and that phrase alone should stop you in your tracks. Chosen her side of what? Exactly. She plays for the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark is her teammate. There is no side here. There's just a rookie being a good locker room presence, and a chunk of this fan base treating basic teamwork like a betrayal.
Suspending Thomas for 1 game.
The fist in the throat is crazy. It's crazy. It's dangerous.
Thomas says in the wake of the game, she and her family have been threatened and she's been called racial slurs, criticizing WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for not doing enough to protect players.
We're so concerned about the safety on the court, but time and time again, we're having people threatening our lives. I'm sick and tired of it, and it's time for them to step up and have our backs.
The WNBA saying they condemn all forms.
Raven Johnson was drafted onto this team, and she's supporting her teammate. That's it. That's the whole story. I genuinely do not understand how that becomes controversial in anybody's mind. This is the most normal, expected thing a professional athlete can do, and it's being treated like she crossed some invisible picket line that only exists in certain corners of this fanbase's imagination.
waiting to hear from Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm going to tell you, she has not spoken to any media yet. She ain't did no media run, no media talk, but she did appear at a soccer game. Now, we're going to get to that on X in a hot second, but something else we have to address is Dan Dietrich and Christine Brennan of USA Today having a very
And that's why I'll say this plainly. The 1BA wants to be a great league for all women athletes, but right now it's one of the most mocked leagues in all of sports, and moments like this are exactly why. Nobody respects a league where a rookie gets torched online for supporting her own teammate. That's not a growing pains story. That's an embarrassment, and the league needs to reckon with what its own fanbase culture is doing to these young players.
a clip of yesterday that broke the damn internet. Many people was insinuating that Stephanie White could actually be siding and kind of defending Alyssa Thomas, man. Pretty much saying that we need to protect our players. Now, one thing Sean McCoy stated yesterday on Speak Easy was that all professional athletes allegedly get death threats. Hell, even content creators get death threats. You know how many times somebody said, John, if I catch you at a game, John, or this and that in the comment section.
And just to remind everybody what this league has already let slide this season, go back and look at the fist to the throat, the knee pressed into her, Bonner standing right there while it happened. We can't make this up. And this is the same league that then turned around and had its players rank Caitlin Clark 11th. It is what it is, but it's not a good look, and it's exactly why this Raven Johnson pile-on hits different right now.
Before we get into Caitlin Clark response to Stephanie White and this whole Alyssa Thomas situation. Now, we heard Alyssa Thomas give her response to the media. Now, this is a clip from Caitlin Clark, which was a couple months ago, which was like almost like a nonsense question. But listen to the level of professionalism Caitlin Clark have about this question. Let's roll the clip real quick. Let's listen.
Leg sleeve come about.
I knew that would be the first question.